So Cheney is sitting in the back of an ambulance, laying down the law to Kyung and Kang. She hits them with a strict warning: whatever happens, do not admit to the kidnapping. They actually listen to her for once, stick to the script, and manage to slide out of police custody without a single charge on their record. Later at the hospital, Kyung is already back to his usual self, aggressively bragging about how incredibly stupid Chinese plan was. He's ranting about how dumb he was to even go along with it, whining, what if her grandma finds out? Right on cue, the door swings open and Grandma walks into the room. The place goes dead silent. Instantly, everyone panics and dives for cover. Cheney scrambles and crams herself inside a nearby closet, but the second the door shuts, things get freaky. She doesn't just sit in the dark, she suddenly finds herself transported to a completely different place in time. She's looking around, and apparently she's in the middle of a historical Kdrama set where a king is handing out brutal punishments to prisoners. Back in reality, Grandma marches into the room and tells everyone to cut the crap. She already knows exactly what went down. Kang and Kyung crawl out of their hiding spots, instantly begging for forgiveness. Grandma looks around and calls out for Cheney, but gets total silence. She marches over to the first closet, yanks it open, and it's completely empty. She snaps open the next closet, but nope, nothing there either. Then poof, Cheney suddenly reappears out of thin air right back inside the first closet. Grandma's brain is completely short-circuiting, trying to figure out how that's physically possible. But before she can even process it, Cheney bursts out of the closet sobbing. She throws her arms around Grandma, crying that something is seriously wrong with her and that she's seeing some majorly weird hallucinatory stuff. Meanwhile, Kyung and Kang are just standing in the background, rolling their eyes. They whisper to each other, totally convinced Cheney is just milking the waterworks and putting on a massive drama performance just to get out of being grounded. They have absolutely no clue she just accidentally teleported through time. While this is going down, Lee is standing right outside the door, low-key listening to the entire chaotic scene. But here's the massive backstory drop we didn't see coming. Years ago, this town was hiding a shady laboratory where mad scientists were secretly experimenting on kids. These experiments gave the kids insane superpowers, and yep, Lee was one of them. Back then, he had the power to levitate objects, but absolutely zero control over it. That's when he met his very first friend in the lab, a kid who had the ultimate cheat code: instant, rapid healing. We don't get all the details about the lab just yet, only that it eventually went up in flames, and a young Lee had to run for his absolute life. And remember that jittery old man from earlier? Turns out he was actually a guard at that lab, and he's the one who rescued Lee from the fire. Cut to the old man, who is currently pouring his heart out and explaining all of this to his wife. Except, twist ending, his wife has been dead for years. He's actually stuck in a massive, hyper-realistic illusion, controlled by this young, creepy lady. She is literally hijacking his mind to extract his memories. Outside Kang's house, Kyung and Kang are sitting around drowning their sorrows in beer, aggressively blaming each other for the entire kidnapping disaster. Kang starts crying. Fed up with the whining, Kyung finally packs up and leaves. Left alone and completely in his feelings, Kang winds up and throws his empty beer can out of pure frustration. But instead of just bouncing off the wall, the can slices through the concrete like a hot knife through butter, leaving a perfect hole. Kang just stares at his hand, totally bewildered, and mutters, "I didn't even throw it that hard." Meanwhile, over at Kyung's house, he's trying to grab a cold bottle of water from the fridge. But the second his hand touches the door, it completely fuses to the metal. He yanks, twists, and pulls with everything he's got, but his hand is straight up glued to the refrigerator. Turns out, Cheney isn't the only one who brought back a little something extra from that toxic drainage pit. The next day, Cheney's grandma heads straight back to the clinic to grill the doctor about the test results. But when she walks in, the doctor looks completely shell-shocked. He's staring at the charts, stumbling over his words, trying to process what he's seeing. Finally, he drops the bombshell. It's a straight-up miracle. Her supposedly incurable heart disease completely wiped out. Not only that, but her entire body has regenerated. He tells her Cheney's system is working perfectly, like a literal newborn baby. While the doctor is baffled, Grandma's face goes pale. She knows exactly what this means, and it has everything to do with that toxic drainage water. Sneaking out of the office, she desperately tries to call someone on her cell, but the line keeps coming up busy. Later that morning, Cheney finally wakes up and stumbles into the kitchen for breakfast. Grandma decides to hit her with the good news, but adds a massive twist. She slides over a surprise care package, a brand new passport, and a vacation ticket to travel the world just like Cheney wanted. But of course, there's a catch. Grandma pulls out a chore chart and tells her she only gets the tickets if she follows the rules and listens to her from now on. Rule number 1, sit down and actually finish your lunch. Just as Cheney is happily stuffing her face, celebrating her sudden recovery and the trip, Grandma's phone rings. It's a callback from that mysterious contact, and they need to meet up immediately. It was Director Che. Back at the restaurant kitchen, Cheney is trying to wrap her brain around the insane hallucinations she saw in the closet. Meanwhile, Kang is staring at his hands, completely dazed, trying to figure out if he actually just turned into a real-life Hulk. Suddenly, one of the kitchen staff runs in all excited and tells Cheney that a seriously handsome guy is outside asking for her. Turns out, it's Lee. He doesn't waste any time and gets straight to the point, casually asking her, "Hey, have you ever, died before and just magically come back to life?" Cheney has absolutely no clue what his angle is, so she plays it cool and hits him with a smirk. "That's a secret," she says, before quickly adding that there was definitely no real kidnapping going on. The second Lee walks away, Cheney spins around and grills Kang. "You deleted that fake kidnapping footage from the camera, right?" Kang just gives her this blank idiot stare. He totally forgot. Absolutely furious, Cheney bolts out of the restaurant and runs straight toward the old barn house where they filmed the video. Kang immediately panics and rings up Kyung to warn him that the boss girl is on the warpath. As Cheney is racing through the streets, she has no idea that Lee is low-key stalking her from the shadows. And what Lee doesn't realize is that someone else is secretly tracking him too. Lee is walking and wrestling with a dark thought. The only way to 100% prove if Cheney has the superpower to cheat death is to literally kill her again. But what if she doesn't actually have it and just stays dead? Right as Lee is spiraling into full mad scientist mode, a car horn blares, snapping him out of it and accidentally blowing his cover. Cheney spots him, panics, and runs as fast as her legs can carry her. She finally reaches the creepy old barn house and ducks inside, frantically tearing the place apart to find the camera. Outside, Lee spots a local garbage collector walking away with a camera in his hands. Lee swipes it, fires up the playback, and there it is, clear as day footage of Cheney lying dead on the floor. Now Lee has his proof. She definitely has supernatural powers. To test his theory and see what else she can do, Lee unleashes his telekinesis. He starts tearing the barn house apart with his mind, bending the entire structure right over Cheney's head. Just then, Kyung pulls up to the scene. He ducks behind a car, his jaw dropping to the floor as he witnesses Lee single-handedly ripping a building apart with his bare thoughts. The secret is officially out. Inside the barn house, Cheney is in total panic mode as the entire roof comes crashing down around her. Her heart starts pounding like crazy. She ducks down, covering her face, bracing for impact. But then, suddenly, everything goes dead quiet. She opens her eyes, and instead of piles of collapsing metal, there's a sea eagle soaring right in front of her. Turns out she's sitting on a tiny boat right in the middle of the ocean. Talk about a change of scenery. Before she can even process the whiplash, 3 sketchy guys step out of the boat's cabin. They take one look at her and automatically assume she's an undercover cop, which is bad news because these guys are actually heavily armed smugglers. They point their rifles straight at Cheney. She panics, a shot echoes across the water, and poof, she teleports right out of there again. Back at the ruined barn house, Lee is frantically using his telekinesis to fling away the fallen metal, desperately searching the debris for Cheney, but she is absolutely nowhere to be found. He's totally baffled. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, watching from a distance is Lee's old friend from the lab, the exact same guy who has been low-key stalking him this whole time. Now, right before the episode cuts to black, we shift over to Director Choi's house. He hears a car pull up outside and assumes it's Cheney's grandma arriving for their meeting. But when he looks out, a sleek black car is sitting in the driveway. It's not grandma, it's the creepy cleanup crew from the lab. The episode hits us with a devastating, dramatic cliffhanger as red ink brutally splashes across a family photo frame, signaling that the hunt for the superpowered kids has officially turned deadly.